Okay, in this next clip, we're going to look at once finishing a single and ending potentially up in headquarters position or reverse de la riva, we're going to look at a bit of a wrestling style way of passing. It's something I used to do a lot, but as my development's gone through, has gone on, and the rate of the level that I'm playing against has gone on, it's not always the main thing that I like to do as opposed to other techniques. But we'll take a look. From this single leg, we talked about finishing head outside and finishing into the floor and ending up here. We either went headquarters, which means I'm going to travel this way, or we end up in a reverse de la riva or half guard. So it's looking about what I can do unconventionally. Okay. First and foremost, he's either going to be looking to control his heel with his backhand and looking to extend with this. So before we give him an opportunity to put his foot on, I'm going to thread this hand underneath the top hamstring and on top of this quad. Before I move anywhere, pull the hand up and have an option to pin. Because the great way of pinning, I used to pin this way, but Mark can sit up on his elbow. If I turn and switch under this direction, sit up, brother, it's a bit difficult. It's almost like a bit of a key lock. So this is my main structure that I'll go to. I'll land and I'll hand fight and I'll play here. As soon as that hand goes to the floor, it's kind of when I have to go immediately. But instead of showing it so fast, we'll go into the finer detail. So if Mark just rotates, this knee shield here, legs crossed on the hip, knee in front, this limits my action to be able to come forwards, okay? So like I said, when I landed, this hand comes in, threading the needle and hooking this quad, and this hand will pin. It's this barrier that trying to charge through over here at a reckless rate, you'll just find it, just letting go and coming through here, there's just no space. He's either back taking me or he's gonna scramble up, you know, so from here again, as this hooks through and I pin this, my hips come upwards and then I rotate my shin to go over his shin line, and as that foot drops, this hand catches the top of the quad. As I walk, I've got all this hand hooks over the head, and I tie my hands together in a S-grip fashion. So if Mark goes to struggle from there, just have to look to sit up. My favourite way of controlling now, because one thing I need to be aware of here, is that if Mark inverts, he can almost flatten me. This is a big problem, especially if you get your weight distribution wrong. That's a big, almost anti-wrestling antidote to stop it. So once I manage to cradle Mark this way, I don't stay near his legs, I come a little bit to his head and I'll scoop. You see this with the hip? Don't just go with the leg and put your knee in, because if he kicks his leg away and I lose this, I could potentially end up in a saddle. Again, another problem that you have to deal with, you know, with the modern game, the way everything's improving. So as soon as I end up here, scoop over with the knee, drop the hip, and as I drop the hip, this elbow is tucking his head in. I'm almost trying to drive his knee into his eyeball, which is nice, as you can see. Drop this. So then I can sometimes sit back to here, or once I've dropped, struggle there, Mark, watch my left thigh goes behind his foot, and if you've got the yoga flexibility of Mark, that usually happens where it's very uncomfortable and you sometimes get a submission. On many occasions when I've played against people that are unorthodox, this does tap people out if you have that kind of flexibility where you can't touch your toes. Okay, so from the top, I have my single leg, I finish this and I end up in half guard, insert the thread, control the hand up, over, and swim over his head, because if I try and go in front of it, he'll push my bicep and check. This comes over. Once I tie my hands together, weave, drop, back step, and lift, and then hopefully to some kind of uncomfortable pressure. If I want to improve, 1, 2, 3, and then behind my opponent. So there's a bit of an insight as to a wrestler's way of passing with the awareness of the kryptonite of jiu-jitsu to kind of counter it.